Welcome to the third of 3 short films that introduce the subject of manual handling in the workplace. These films are provided in advance of any formal manual handling training that your role within the workplace requires. Each of the films deal with a specific aspect of manual handling. This third film looks at keeping your back safe. The first film examined the legal requirements for manual handling, and the second looked at why your back gets injured. Each film lasts approximately 5.5 minutes, so if you still have a slightly warm or cold beverage to hand, let's begin. We saw in the second film how your back is prone to be injured. We also learned that your back is a complex structure whose main functions are to provide support for our body structure and to aid in the delicate balancing sequence that enables us to walk upright. Did you note there that its main function does not involve lifting or carrying? If you took the time to look around you at others performing manual handling activities, there's a strong chance that you will see them lift using their backs. This sees them bend at the waist to grab hold of the item and raise it using the muscles in their arms, shoulders and backs. This is the incorrect method. By performing this method, as this model shows, we place incredible stresses on our lower back. This stress can cause pinching and squeezing on one side of the vertical disc and stretching on the other. Repeated often enough, this can cause wear and tear damage, which often leads to pain. So if this is the incorrect way, why do people do it this way in the first place? Unfortunately, it's a lesson learned from our peers when we are young. Your manual handling training session should show you a film that explains what happens to make us adopt poor manual handling habits as we grow up. When we are very young, our bodies are not developed and strong enough to carry out demanding manual handling activities, yet we still have to retrieve items from the floor. When we do that, we use the method that our body is designed to use. We keep our back straight and we bend our knees. We take a good hold of the item to be lifted, and we use the strong muscles in our legs to power the lift from the ground. At all times, we keep the back straight. Thus, it's not stretched, strained, squeezed or pinched in the process. Unfortunately, young children learn from their elders. This is how we learn to speak and socially interact. But we also look at how our elders are performing certain tasks, and we copy them. Chances are that you and I will have adopted the unsafe lifting practices that our parents and other adults around us displayed. So the damage to our backs occurs from an early age. But don't worry, we can stop it from developing into chronic back pain in our later years. How then do we get back to lifting in the safe way? The first thing to remember are that there are no lifting muscles in the spinal column, and that we should never attempt to lift any item that is beyond our lifting capability. Next, we need to keep the back as straight as possible. We do this by getting close to the item to be lifted and placing our feet shoulder width apart, ideally one foot slightly in front of the other. Next, we bend our knees. This action allows our hands to reach and get a firm grip on the item to be lifted. With a firm grip applied, using the whole of the hand, not just the fingertips, we push up with our leg muscles. We extend our legs into the straight position and keep the load held close into our bodies as we do so. When our legs are straight, we can hold the lifted item close into our body. This maintains a third point of contact with the load, 2 hands on the front of our bellies. Now we can walk and hold the item to the point where it needs to go. To get it back to the ground, we keep our back straight and bend our legs at the knees. This is the safest way of lifting an object from the ground. Your formal manual handling training session will provide you with several other safe lifting and handling methods, but the essence of it all is to keep your back straight and to use your leg muscles more. The session will also train you to use the dynamic risk assessment method of TILE, T-I-L-E, prior to conducting the manual handling activity. The beauty of this safer lifting method is that you don't have to use it only in the workplace. You can use it outside of work too. The more you do it safely, the better your chances are of avoiding chronic back pain in your later years. The trick is to get back to the stage where our lifting and handling methods are instinctively safer. We do it naturally without having to think about it. Before we finish, let's just explain the importance of warming up and wearing protection. Where we know that we are required to perform manual handling activities in our workplaces, it's a good idea to do some warm-up exercises first. These are available from your company's safe working procedures and ideally should be applied before the activity. Gloves should always be worn. They will provide both protection and better grip. Many of the items that you will handle may be rough and or sharp to the touch. Glove protection is better than skin protection. Safety footwear should be worn, but remember that the protection is only over the toes, not on the upper foot. Should for any reason an item drop from your hands, remember to move your feet backwards to prevent the upper areas of your feet from being injured. Before we say goodbye, let's recap this film's main points. Backs are injured over a long period of time by failing to adopt a safe lifting posture and process. All too often we lift by bending at our backs instead of bending at our knees. The correct lifting process involves keeping the back straight and using the leg muscles. Safe lifting isn't just for work. You can apply it to your social life and conditions too. If you haven't viewed films 1 and 2 yet, there's a good chance that much of this didn't make any sense. Now would be a good time to go and view them. Thanks for watching, and keep your back safe. If you've enjoyed these films, then you might wish to contact me at Dan Lee Training for further information about these and other training solutions that we can provide companies with safety compliance needs.